Wire work with aluminum wire has become quite the rage, and Accent Decor offers three different gauges of wire. We have the 10 gauge, we have the 12 gauge, this one here, and then the 18 gauge. And so we have the luxury of three different weight to be able to do a number of things. Some of the things that you can do are to make floral jewelry, bracelets for prom, corsage bases for weddings, as well as accessories for vases to decorate and to accentuate different vases that are available here at Accent Decor. So I just wanted to show you a very new technique that I just sort of picked up from helping Scott Hasty over in Orange, Texas. He has a new technique that I thought was quite intriguing that I wanted to share with you. So I just want to show you how that works. Just like with any other wire work, basically you're going to work with the needle nose plier. And in this particular one, I'll just go ahead and make something that's a little bit scrolly, more circular kind of a piece. I'm going to do sort of a continuous circular motion, random, nothing too calculated, because that's what makes it so that it's very easy to create. It doesn't take a great deal of skill to do this, and it doesn't take a lot of patience to do it either, because it's a very quick, easy method. What I'm going to do is, at this point, I'm going to cut and sort of work my way back, because I'm basically trying to make something that will work into a bracelet size, roughly. The beauty of working with wire is such that no matter what you make out of it, whatever shape it turns out, it's all reshapeable. You know, if it turns out bad, you can shape it out and fix it to make it look good again. So you can't go wrong. It's really a very fun exercise. It's one of those things that you want to do, sitting watching TV and make some extra money in the evening, getting ready for the prom. So this is basically what I've created here. And the new technique, outside of just shaping it like this, is to hammer it. So that you get actually these wire, when it's rounded, it's a lot softer, so it moves a lot easier. But when you hammer it, it becomes more set. And so I'm going to go and hammer this. Okay, so you can see the finish on it. It's flattened and it's more rigid. It doesn't pull out anymore where it did before when it was more rounder, the wire. So now what I'm going to do is just sort of shape it so that it becomes molded to the wrist. And what happens here is that wherever there's not as much decorative sections, like these just plain loops here, is where you might put either crushed glass or beading or flowers, of course, as you work with prom flowers. But you shape it so that it fits on the wrist very nicely. And I think that sort of flattened hammer effect, it makes it a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do now is to take the 18 gauge wire, which is the thinner wire, and make sure when you open it out of the package, don't take both of these ties, just keep one on so it doesn't get all loose and turn into a mess. You want to just pull it out as you need it, sections at a time. And I'm going to take this, and now I'm going to actually thread this through so that it really adds that extra texture of a different gauge wire. And as I'm doing this, now there's a selection of crushed glass here. This is the former, and it's still in stock, and it's really lovely. Crushed glass that's shiny, and then there's the pearlized glass. And I'm going to just grab a few of those and work it into this particular design. So what I'm going to do is actually wrap. This wire is attached to the bracelet, but also wrapped around this piece of crystal or the glass. And so that way it's wrapped right into this bracelet. And it sort of makes it a very nice decorative look that makes it really a nice choice for some of the young girls that for their prom bracelet. I'm going to take another piece of glass like this and bring that in, also attached to the bracelet, and wrap. And because these glass pieces are very angular and very irregular in shape, it's very easy to find a facet that you can wrap and that it would stay in place. That's the only difficulty with using things like a rounded beads or like pearls, unless there's something that you can thread. It's very, very difficult to do a wrap because it slides and slips. But with this, it's very, very easy. So that's in place, and then I'm going to put another piece. This one here, because it's going to sort of be floating without too much attachment here, so I'm going to wrap it first, and then I'm going to thread it into this bracelet. And as you can see, I'm running out of the wire. I don't have any kind of special rule as how long a wire you should have on hand. I just take a piece off that spool and just go with it. The key is, as you tie it into place and the piece of wire comes to the end, you just got to make sure that you don't attach it to the outer edges of the bracelet. That becomes abrasive on the wrist. What you want to do is sort of hide it within the bracelet itself, especially where it's indented so that it doesn't get in the way of your wrist. I'm going to take another little piece so that I can finish off inclusion of just a few more, maybe one more glass. And maybe this one here, I'll just go ahead and do the wrap on it first, where it seems to be the skinniest spot, so we can get that started and then work that in. And we'll just actually use this one to bridge between this and that, so that end scroll piece doesn't pull out as easy. I think this makes it much more secure. But you can see that it doesn't take long, and I've sort of timed myself with this. You know, when you get really efficient at it and you get a system going and all your product is in place, you can probably make one every 5 to 7 minutes. So that's pretty good for the amount of product and the cost of the product that's been used to create this bracelet. It's really a very nice way to, I think florists are jeweler and fashion designer and do all these things, you know, all these skills sort of all comes together so that we can create things for our customers. And so there's your bracelet. And the flowers could be glued in between these spots like little orchids, and that makes a very pretty presentation. So there's that. And this is the one that's again done in the pearlized look. This is the original crushed glass that I had done previously. And this one here is actually done to decorate the vase. And this one here was done just a little bit differently because it's a little bit more angular, where the other one was, I did loops, series of loops. The key to working with this wire is pulling and keeping it straight, and always using the needle nose plier as the holder, and you're always pulling so that it doesn't get all kinked up. You know, what we want is to keep it so that it's nice and angular and very straight on the sides. So you just do a sort of continuous angles like this, and then it becomes something like this. And you pound it down with a hammer and wire it with the 18 gauge wire again, and then you can slip it over the edge of the container and do a wrap so that it's attached. The beauty of this is that if I should start to use some foliage into this, then the foliage itself could also be used, threaded through this structure so that this becomes part of the design element. And I'm just going to show you how, if I could just get rid of that little curl, then I can slip it in so that this could also be part of the design, continue from whatever that the flowers that you use on top so that you can see that that could be actually part of the design element.